Hello everyone, welcome to a new episode. We're going to be working on Unit 1, Lessons 3 and 4. Our topic is the same, coming home. Let's get started with our objectives. We're going to be speaking and writing questions about another student's daily routine. We're going to write a paragraph about what you and your family usually do in the holidays. We will ask and answer questions about your family and relaxing at home. We will ask and answer questions to find out information about another student. We will learn the expression block of flats and interview. And for our language, we're going to be focusing on question words and life skills, self-management, managing time, and routines. Now, I want you to read the profile quickly and answer the question. Which of the three questions is Shahana answering? Lives around the world. Tell us about your life. What are your hobbies and interests? What is a typical day in your life? What job do you want to do one day? My name is Shahana. I'm from India. I live in a village with my parents, my brother, and my sister. I share a room with my sister. We all get up early. There is an outside tap at the end of the street where we live. My mom gets water from the tap every morning. Then we all have breakfast. We have bread with a cup of tea. My dad works in a shop. I have 2 jobs to do when I get home from school. I feed the chickens, then I help my mom make dinner. After dinner, I do my homework. Sometimes I help my brother and sister to do their homework too. Then I go to bed. I want you to look at the words in bold, which are tap and feed. And let's get started with our question. Which of the 3 questions is Shahana answering? Of course, she answers, what is a typical day in your life? And now we're going to jump to exercise 2. Read the article again and choose the correct answers. There are blank people in Shahana's family. Of course, is it 4 or 5? You can always go back to the text and find the number. Or you can count the family members' numbers. Of course, the answer is 5. As for number 2, Shahana lives or doesn't live in the city. If you look at the first paragraph, you are going to find the answer. And of course, the answer is she doesn't live in the city. Number 3, the family has or doesn't have water in the house. Of course, you can go to the text and search for the word water, and you will find the hint on the answer. You can also look for the word tap, which means something used to get water. We usually have a tap in the bathroom or in the kitchen. When we open it, we get water. So the answer for number 3 is doesn't have. The family doesn't have water in the house. Therefore, what do? They have to get up early and they go to the end of the street where they live to get water. Number 4, Shahana has or doesn't have breakfast with her family. Of course, Shahana has breakfast with her family in the morning. As for number 5, she helps her mother feed the chickens or make dinner. What do you think? What does she help her mother with? She helps her mother make dinner, but she feeds the chickens alone. So for number 5, the accurate answer is make dinner or cook dinner. Now let's jump to exercise 3. Read the answers about Shahana. What are the questions? So in this section, we're going to do the opposite. We're going to start with the answers and then search for the questions or guess and create the questions. Let's get started. She lives in a village. Of course, the question is, where does Shahana live? As for number 2, she shares a room with her sister. So what do you think the question would be here? Who does she share a room with? Who does she share a room with? Number 3, she has bread with a cup of tea. Do you remember what this was? Which meal was this? Was it the breakfast or the lunch? Let's check. Or maybe dinner. What does she have for breakfast? So, of course, that was her breakfast. And the question is, what does she have for breakfast? Let's read the sentence in number 4. He works in a shop. What do you think the question is? Where does her father work? Where does her father work? We're going to move to the next exercise, exercise 4. Answer the questions. What is Shahana's morning routine? This one is done for us. Let's read the answers. She gets up early and has breakfast. Question 2. What jobs does she do in the house? Of course, the answer is she feeds the chickens and helps her mom make dinner. Those are her responsibilities or jobs or chores at home. Let's jump to number 3. When does she do her homework? When does she do her homework? Of course, the answer is she does it after dinner. She does it after dinner. Number 4. Who does she sometimes help to do their homework? So who does she help do their homework? She helps somebody. Who is it? She sometimes helps her brother and sister to do their homework. Good job, guys. Now I want you to research, find out about the life of another person outside Egypt. Where does he or she live? What is his or her daily routine? Here, you need to decide on the country you want to research, and then search for specific questions that you want to find out, such as what is their daily routine, what time do they usually work or go to school, and what time they come back from school, and what kind of activities do they do after school. And also, when do shops close down and when do people go to bed? Let's continue. Now we're going to go to the writing section. Write about your daily routine. What do you do every day? Think about your own daily routine and write down what do you do every day. If I were to answer this question, I would say my daily routine starts at 6 a.m. where I get up, get dressed, and have my coffee and then head to work. I spend about 7 to 8 hours at work, and when I'm done, I get back home to my family. We enjoy cooking dinner together, we do a little bit of homework, watch TV, and go to bed. What about your routine? Now we're going to go to lesson 3, our reading section. We're going to read this conversation and answer questions about it. It is between Eunice and Grandma. Grandma, have you got a watermelon? Yes, I have. It's on the table. Can I have some, please? I like watermelon. Yes, of course. We need a knife to cut it. Shall I help you to cut it? Thank you, Eunice. But be careful with the knife. Now, underline the 3 questions. Which question asks for something? So look back at the conversation and find the question that asks for something. Of course, it says, can I have some, please? Okay. Which question suggests doing something? Which question suggests doing something or tells you to do something? Of course, it is, shall I help you to cut it? Here, it is suggesting helping to cut the watermelon. And number 3, which question asks what Grandma has? Of course, this is, Grandma, have you got a watermelon? Now we're going to move on to complete the text message with can, shall, or have you got. So if I tell you, can you do something? Here I'm asking if you are able or not able to do something. If I use shall means will you do something in the future? Or maybe I will do something in the future. So I might say, I shall pray before I go to work. Here it means I'm still going to do it. There's a big chance that I'm going to do it. Have you got? If I'm asking if you own something specific, I would say, have you got? Have you got a tablet? Have you got lunch? Have you got white shoes? Let's read the text message and try to fill in the blanks with the correct word. Hi, Amal. have you got that game called Odd One Out? No, I don't play that game now. It's for young children. Number 2, blank any other children's games. Here I'm asking if she owns any other children's games. So what would I use? Can, shall, or have you got? Of course, it is have you got. Have you got any children's games? My 6-year-old cousin is here and he wants to play a game with me. Yes, I have. Role play. Do you remember that game? Yes, I do. Number 3, blank I borrow it in the evening. Here I'm asking about the ability of borrowing. So I would say, can I borrow it this evening? My cousin would love it. Can I borrow it this evening? My cousin would love it. Of course. Number 4, blank I play it too. And of course, we're going to ask, shall I play it too? It's better with 3 people, and I still enjoy that game. Of course, you can come to my house later. Now, we're going to the writing section. I'd like you to work in pairs. You want to play a game with a friend next weekend. Take turns to write text messages to each other. Include questions with shall, can, and have got. Start like this. Hi, shall we play a game next weekend? And continue using those expressions. After you're done, I'd like you to read your text message conversation and then circle all the questions and check, have you written them correctly? You can always go back to the example of the text message we just read together. Remember, use short and clear sentences in text messages. Now, this is a tip for writing a text message. When you're sending a text message, make sure it is short, precise, and to the point. Let's get going. We're going to move on to Lesson 4, the reading section, The Railway Children, by E. Nesbitt. Let's read question 1. Work in pairs, look at the pictures, and discuss the questions. So, you need to look at the 3 pictures on the right-hand side and discuss what you see with a partner. Of course, if we look at picture A, we'll notice 2 girls and a boy waving goodbye to a train as it passes. If we look at picture B, we will see the 3 children standing in front of a man wearing a hat and someone else standing on the side. As for the 3rd picture, we're looking at a man and a woman sitting on the sofa. Now, what do you think the story is going to be about? Do you think it has a happy or sad ending? Try to guess the answers and let's get started. Read the story and then put the pictures in the correct order. The Railway Children by E. Nesbitt. It is the 1900s. Roberta, her young brother Peter, and their little sister, Phyllis, live with their parents in London. They have a big, attractive home with a large garden. One terrible day, 2 men take their father away from home. The children do not know where he's going or why. The children move from the city with their mother to a small house near a railway line. The children are poor and life is very different for them. The children have lots of adventures near the railway line. A kind old man who travels on the train every day becomes their friend. The old man helps the family in many ways. He helps their father too, because their father is in prison for something he did not do. Finally, their father comes home. The family is so happy to be together again at last. Now, let's put the pictures in order. The first picture is C. This is probably the father and the mother sitting and talking together. And the second picture is A. The children wave goodbye to their father as he leaves. And the third picture is B. When their father comes back and they see him and the family is reunited. Now, you may read the story again and match the sentences to their correct answer. Number 1 is done for us. At the beginning, the children live in, of course, the city. So in the beginning, the children live in the city, 1F. Number 2, their first home is, where is their first home? Of course, it is 2C. It's a big home with a garden. Then 3, they move on to E, a small, simple house. Number 4, near their home, there is B, a railway line. Number 5, one of their new friends is D, a kind old man. And number 6, the children are very happy when they see A, their father again. Let's move on to exercise 4. Look at the words in bold in the story and match the words and their definitions. So number 1 is already done for us. Let's read it together. A place where people go when they do something wrong. This is prison. So a prison is a place where people are taken to be imprisoned or to stay there by force if they do something wrong. Number 2, the road that a train travels on is called a railway line. So the place where the train has to keep moving and it cannot get off that road is called the railway line. Number 3, people without enough money are, how do we describe people who do not own enough money for basic needs such as food, water, clothing, and even having a house or living in a specific shelter? This is poor. So number 3 is poor. We describe people as poor if they do not have enough money for basic needs. Number 4, beautiful. What is another word for beautiful? Of course, it is attractive. There are many words we can use to describe someone as beautiful or attractive or gorgeous or good looking. Now we're going to move on to number 5, big. What is another word for big? Of course, it is large or humongous. Number 6, if something is very bad, we can describe it as terrible. Now let's move to the speaking section. Ask and answer the questions in pairs. So find a partner so that you can discuss those questions together. How did the children feel when they moved to the small house? Why? I want you to put yourself in their shoes and imagine what they felt when they moved to the small house and why they felt that way. Number 2, how do you feel when things change? Is it easy or difficult at first? Discuss your answers with your partner. Suggested answers are, the children are now poor and their house is much smaller, so they are probably feeling sad about this, although they have lots of adventures which might be fun. The answer to number 2 might be, people sometimes feel scared when things change, and it gets difficult in the beginning, but then it becomes easier later on. Now, as for your exit ticket, I want you to use the following 3 vocabulary words in sentences: railway line, attractive, and terrible. That's a wrap, guys. This was Ms. Sara Bassioni. Thank you and goodbye.